No more? Okay. There's always that one last guy. He's late for everything.
That's this one.
All right. Good morning.
Morning.
Let's get started. Okay. My name's Brandon. I used to play soccer. I was number 13. I saw number 13. I talked to him. Where'd he go? There he is. And he said it was a lucky number. People always say 13 was an unlucky number, right? So my thought process was, well, I'm going to be bad luck for the other team. So that's why I picked number 13. I grew up in Brazil. That's my dad. My parents were missionaries to Brazil for 10 years. So I moved there when I was 8, came back at 18. When I first moved there, I didn't play soccer at all. Didn't really care for it. After the World Cup in '94, that's when I really started playing soccer and fell in love with the game. One of my biggest idols was the Brazilian Ronaldo, number 9. Used to watch his moves, copy his moves, try and score the same goals he'd score, and try to emulate his magic. Started off playing in the streets with, just 2v2. It was like clockwork every day at 4 o'clock. All the kids from the neighborhood would be right outside my house and play 2v2. That's kind of where it got started. They first called me perna de pau, which is legs of wood. And after a lot of hard work and dedication, they were calling me golden legs. So got to be pretty good. That was my high school team. I'm on the far left over there. Came back to the States for college, played some college ball. That was at OU. They didn't really have a team there. They had a club team, so I played for there, won some trophies. Then in 2005, I was in a car accident. I was on my way home from work one day. I was stopped at a red light. Didn't even see it coming. Basically, I remember leaving work, and then I remember seeing lights, kind of like that, going by me. And just like seeing the ceiling and having that feeling of like, okay, something's out of place, something's not right. And then I realized there's some nurses with masks and doctors leaning over me. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, Brandon, you're in a car accident. And when my parents got to the hospital in Philadelphia, that's what they came to. So broke three of my vertebrae, had 9 broken ribs, punctured lungs, damaged spleen, damaged diaphragm, injury to my left shoulder, so can't raise my shoulder up very well. 2 of the 3 layers of my descending aorta were torn. So the doctor did a 14-hour-long heart surgery to fix that. That was probably the most dangerous thing because, had that 3rd layer torn, I would have bled out in the car right there instantly. And then it damaged my spinal cord at T11. And I also damaged one of my vocal cords. That's why I'm always sound like I'm hoarse. I have not been partying all night. It's just always like this. And then all my organs got shoved up into my chest cavity and damaged kidneys. Long list of injuries. There's kind of a representation of what it did to my vertebrae. Got rods in my back. Had 23 surgeries to date. Got tons of trophy scars. There's me doing physical therapy. The doctors gave me a 95% chance of never walking again. And I still remember, still makes me tear up. I remember when they told me that, and my mom was there. I was holding my mom's hand. And I knew if they told me I couldn't walk again, I didn't really care about that, but it meant I couldn't play again. And that's what really hurt. And I remember asking my mom, I was like, am I really never going to walk again? And she just said, I don't know, son. And that was the hardest thing. It took me months to be able to just drive by a soccer field and I'd just start crying. Because I loved the game, just like you guys. I love the game. I lived for it. no matter how many times I tell this story, I still tear up at that part. But took a lot of hard work. It took a team of medical doctors, family members, friends. It was a team to help me get better. And everyone has to do their part for that team. You know, we had a heart doctor, we had a lung doctor, we had a bone doctor. So if everyone does their part and does their job, you can be successful just like on the field. You guys have to do your job and trust that your teammates are doing their job and trust that your coach is doing his job and trust in each other, and then you can succeed. So a lot of hard work. I believe in mantras. So I had forearm crutches that I wrote strength and honor from the movie Gladiator. They would always say strength and honor to each other. I don't know if you've seen it. So something that you can say to yourself over and over is very powerful. Whenever your lungs are burning and you're about to give up, just have a phrase that means something to you and say that to yourself. When I used to play, or I had a job where I would run up and down the beach taking photos of families and stuff, and it was kind of physically taxing because you'd be out in the sun all day running in sand. When I get tired there, I would, and I'd be thinking about stopping. I'd be like, Jedis don't stop, and it would make me keep going. And I had like the word Jedi written on my watch. So something that means something to you that you can say in that moment where you need something to help you dig deep. Have a phrase, have a image that you can see, or something that'll keep you going. Whether it be, maybe you envision rockets on your legs that just, go into hyper gear. Something can be very helpful like that. Does anyone have something that you use already, like some sort of phrase you tell yourself, or whenever you're getting really tired, and is it something, maybe it's like, I don't know, you think of something, think of somebody, think of your favorite player, like, oh, he wouldn't give up, I can't give up. You guys have anything like that you use?
I usually, when I do a mistake or whatever, I do like the flush. Like you flush the toilet.
Flush the toilet?
Yeah. So like it just goes away. And
there we go.
You just do it and then it's gone.
Love it. It's in the past. We'll get to something like that soon. So I was able to do some walking, and I don't know if you can see the calves right there. It says strength and honor from my forearms. I work with the Rogers State men's soccer team, and Jake Simpson, he was one of my mentorees that I helped with, and he is actually the leading goal scorer for Rogers State in their history. So I inspired him to get strength and honor tattooed on his calves, and he's now a coach. He's going to be the assistant coach for Oklahoma Christian, I believe. And so that was right after I walked all across the soccer field, down, over, and back. If you were to ask me, Brandon, can you walk all the way around this field? I'd be like, there's no way. I wouldn't even try. So Brandon, can you walk 10 feet? I'm like, yeah. So I walked 10 feet. That's how I did that. I walked 10 feet. And then I walked 10 more feet. And then I got there, and I walked 10 more feet. That's a technique called chunking. My best friend, he was in the Special Forces. He was over in, I don't know if it was Iraq or Afghanistan, but he said they used to, there was a time where they had to get through this field, people shooting at him, and he's like, there's no way I'm getting through this field. He's like, but I can make it to that giant boulder over there. It's 10 feet away. And he'd be like, as soon as I get to that boulder, I'm quitting, I'm turning back, I'm going home, I give up. But I'm going to get to that boulder. So you get to that boulder. You'd be like, all right, I can get to that tree over there. As soon as I get to that tree, I'm done, I'm quitting. So you make it to that tree, and then same thing, 2 more feet. Next thing you know, it's through the end of the field. And that's how you can, if there's a giant task you have at hand, or a monumental training session you have to get through, just break it up into chunks. Just get to that next part. Get to that next part. It's a very powerful technique. There's our guy Austin Lormel. That's Roger State. Helped him win a championship. Got to go to Manchester United, to the Field of Dreams, and Man City.
Actual Field of Dreams.
Jumped out of a plane with a Superman costume. Did some crowd surfing in a wheelchair. Got to go to Russia for the World Cup. While I was in Russia, it was funny, I had no plans of going. One of my best friends, he's Brazilian, he lived in Florida. He calls me up a few weeks before the World Cup and he was like, hey, so the handicap seats at the games at the World Cup are $100 and you get a free companion seat. You're coming to Russia with me. So I got to go to 2 World Cup games for $50 each. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And while we were there, one of Rodolfo's best friends was he did documentaries. He filmed documentaries. And he just so happened to be filming a documentary with my childhood hero, Ronaldo. I got to have, well, that was the games. I got to have dinner with Ronaldo. And then I got to watch him play tennis. The next day, I was literally at the net while he played tennis for a few hours in Moscow, Russia. And I actually got to hit a few balls with him too. The guy on the right's my best friend, one of my best friends that I went to Russia with, and the guy on the left is Ronaldo's agent. But it was crazy because we didn't talk much soccer at all the whole time we were there. And I actually got to hitch a ride with him. So it's like his driver, Ronaldo, I'm in the back seat. My wheelchair's folded up in his trunk in Russia. What are the odds? But I was like, Ronaldo, I gotta, and I still speak Portuguese, so we were talking Portuguese. And I was like, Ronaldo, I gotta ask you one question about soccer, or else my friends are gonna be like, you hung out with the greatest player of all time, you didn't say anything about soccer. He was like, what's up? And I was like, okay, spotlight, my one question, what's it gonna be? I'm sure he's heard all the questions before. And I was like, Ronaldo, what was your all-time favorite goal? And without skipping a beat, he was like, there wasn't one. I'm like, how could there not be a favorite goal? He goes, goals are like children. Not one is more special than the other. And for the longest time, I was pissed at that answer. I was like, that's crap. Like, he scored some of the best, finals and the championships and whatnot. But then a few months later, it hit me how brilliant that answer is. If all goals are the same, scoring a goal in the final World Cup is just one more goal. There's no pressure. Just one more goal. You just put the ball in the net. Just like here. So, that was goals are like children. One thing I want to talk to you guys about is every time you lace up your boots, you don't realize how special that is, that you get to do that. There are so many people like me who would kill, I can't even reach my feet. People would kill just to be able to put their cleats on. And you get to go every day and do as you love. You don't just play for yourself. You play for me, for all the people who can't be out there, for the people who didn't make the team. And you play for that 10-year-old kid who just came to his first game and is there watching you. You can't give up on that kid. You gotta keep digging, man. You can't give up on me. You can't give up on the people who didn't make it. So don't ever give up. Realize how special that moment is when you get to be out there, when you get to practice. Don't take it for granted, because you never know when your last chance to play will be. So give it all you got every single time. Let's talk about the flush. What do you do when you make a mistake out on the field? Sometimes we like to just get in our heads and just keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And it's kind of like you're getting a giant boulder and putting it on your shoulder, and you're running out there with this giant boulder on your shoulder. Set it down. Forget about it. Move on to the next play. You lost a game you should have won. It burns, but you know what? Stewing on that isn't going to help what's in front of you, the future, the next game. So learn to flush the toilet, let it go. Make it be like Teflon, you know, just rolls right off of you. Take what you need from that lesson, from that mistake, but don't dwell on it. Let it go and move on. There is a story about a monk, 2 monks, and one of the master monk grabs this giant log, and he kind of feels it like this, you know, it's real heavy. And he asks the other monk, he's like, here, how heavy is that log? The other one grabs it. Like, it's really heavy. And the guy takes it back and he's like, watch this. And he drops it. It's not heavy at all. Just let it go. I've already talked about that. How would you practice today if you knew it was the last chance you'd ever get to suit up? Yeah, that's what I got for you today, guys. Don't take it for granted. Soak up every moment. Give it your best. Be your best. And always strive to be better. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.